Oh, hello, my wonderful, beautiful breasts, wonderful, beautiful breasts, guys, I'm bringing up the Nation. Maybe you guys are wondering why I've been away for so long. Actually, there are several reasons for that, but I'm not gonna get into those. Just be more explaining than I feel needs to be done. Because right now, what I have for you guys, also the quality of the audio, and why I'm not on my desk. I will explain that. Well, turns out shit with my microphone kinda got, not so good. So now it's completely wrecked, or at least not completely in terms of the microphone itself, but whatever. Oh, and about the desk, something about my chair not being like, the thing in it, or whatever. So, can't use that anymore because it's in the thing, and Amanda won't take it out of the thing, so whatever. And until I get something like the chair that we have for other stuff. Until that, won't be doing things at the desk anytime soon. So for now, if I'm even able to get this video out, I tried another video earlier, but that doesn't seem to be working. So, for now, it's this. For now, it's just me and regular computer audio. However shitty or not shitty that may be. Over there is like 3 things that have caught my eye. 2 old what ifs, and I guess one that can't really be considered old, but just not touched in a while. The last try that I did at the what if villain Deku or Izuku what if, and the Killua and meta what ifs. Yeah, I need to get back on the wagon with those. There was some really good shit in those. Or at least for the villain one, there was some potential for really good shit. Turns out I just need to change some stuff around. Maybe change the character around a little. And I think you know what character I'm talking about. If you guys have actually been following the story. And you guys might be wondering what exactly this is. Well, you guys. Also, another one that might need some touching up on, and by might I mean definitely does, the Slender Man. Yes, that one needs some touching up on too. The villain Deku, or Izuku, and the meta Killua and Slenderman ones all need some touching up on. So, there are many different ways in which I could actually start this off. Like whenever my hero is born, because yes, the character is still my hero, and he's still going to be 5 years. He's a senior, his big brother by that much. But his quirk is kind of, seriously change. But it's not even going to be a quirk. People are going to think it's a quirk, but it's not actually a quirk. It's actually the fact that he inherited the power of 2 heavily determined souls from a time way back. That people only remember as, scary bedtime stories or, bedtime stories that you tell to your kids. Like, nothing that could ever be real. No, it could never be real. But, oh, definitely once upon a time it was. 2 souls from that era, they became 1 soul, and that soul eventually manifested into the body of a little baby inside the womb of little Inca Midoriya as her firstborn. Her firstborn being Michiru Midoriya. So, considering he has both the determination of Chara and, Frisk, yeah, he's heavily determined. He is heavenly determined. But for what goal or goals? Well, he sees the Hero Society of, this year, not yesteryear, but this year, to be heavily flawed. And that it needs some changing. And it seems that someone doesn't indeed agree with him, but, might need some changing of some ideas in order to set them straight. Because he can see it, but he's not sure if they can see it yet. Their soul, and what it is, the color of it. He can see it even before they see it. That they also have a determination soul. A red soul. Because the red soul trait is that of determination, so a red soul would be honestly a determination soul. So even before Tenko, even before Michiru is tells him about all this, Michiru already knows that Tenko has the determination soul, that he is determined, that he has determination. But once they do end up becoming friends, and, well, basically, Michiru ends up forgetting about the whole, basically figuring out everything about the whole all for one thing. He's just once you are gone, taken to where this all for one guy wants to take you. Because, at least you will have home. Once you are gone, one thing for me, man. One thing for me. Never forget the times we've shared. And never forget. Technically, that's 2 things, but also never forget to stay determined. And, basically, Tenko, he says that's actually funny because that's the same thing he was going to say to him right before he left. to never forget their time together, you know, like to never forget the times they had and never forget to stay determined. Which will probably be a lot easier for him because, you know, they basically figured out he's comprised of two different really determined souls from yester whatever. That seems to have just lapsed into becoming his being and nothing more, nothing less. But not long after that, for one does his, brainwashing of, Tango. And alongside that, basically the heroes one day, like some heroes, not all heroes, but some heroes, walk up to, Inko's door and say, there was a certain incident that did happen that involved, All Might fighting a strange creature. Little does All Might know that was a Nomu. And apparently, there were like a couple people inside of a car that had fallen into a ditch. And they were about to collide with those people and could have killed them. And, my Kiryu showed up on the scene and did some sort of quirk, black hole thing. Not really like 13's quirk, but it was very strange and very perplexing to them. And they wanted to make sure that he was in good hands. Now, Inko not really knowing that they were lying out of their teeth. Well, about the making sure that he was in good hands. Because after that whole incident and, All Might running out basically his time limit, Cementos had to get involved, and after All Might having heard the choice words that Mike Q had to say about the fact that, a hero that could have been, doing their own hero work had to be there to save All Might's image, All Might actually did hear that. And so, felt a personal grudge against this kid, but know that he knew that if he wanted to stay inconspicuous, I guess is the word. I don't even know if it's a word. From any shade that could be thrown his way, any prying eyes, that he would have to, let some of the other heroes get on into this too, like make this kid out to be more of a danger than he actually was. So basically, other heroes were allowed to torture him as well, but All Might was the main one to do the torturing. And my Kiryu suffered a lot of it. And since, Izuku, I'm gonna basically, instead of like the war arc, I'm basically gonna have this be like where this only ends up like my hero actually ends up getting out around the time of the first ever appearance of Shigaraki in the anime, like after that. Like right after that. Like right after everything's cleared of the USJ incident. Like right after that happens, right after everything's cleared of that, that's whenever he breaks out. But not from the power of some sort of 5 Nights at Freddy's thing. Nope. From the power. If Azrael could break the barrier with all those souls, 2 souls of raw determination, creating 1 soul of God knows how much determination, could basically blast a hole big enough to F up a lot of things. Even with how much top security the heroes probably did have. Like, the determination that this kid has alone, and some external help, you know, from a certain part of his quirk. Well, it isn't really a quirk, but, you know. Whenever his quirk was examined, it was, you know, called magic. And it's because that's what it is. It's not a quirk, it's magic. This kid has magic. Basically magic ability to bring back things that were never thought to be bringing backable before. And that is the age of magic. Itself. And I think you know what that means. All your favorite monsters, well, all of the, you know, top tier best favorite monsters are back in town. But all in sort of like a void space, only to really come out into the world whenever it is their turn to enact their part of the plan. You know, my curious plan that he's been planning for God knows how long. He's barely been able to keep, you know, time. But if, you know, if, like, everybody is, like, helping him is correct, which is a lot of people that's helping him, so it should be really correct. Though he'll surely have to check some sort of clock whenever he does get out. Or at least a clock that's in here from the little time they'll have to reprieve. To see what time it is. And what, like, year and day. And basically whenever he does get out, what he is able to tell is that oh my gosh. If Makira was 5 and Izuku would still be 16 because, you know, this is around the time that he turned 16, so it would still be 21. So basically he's like, just around my 21st, if not after my 21st birthday. And no time to celebrate. Well, that is unless, well, we count the celebration you had inside my, you know, quirk head. And it was a damn good party. Too bad it was just, well, never mind. I have to find a way out of here for reals. And basically he just, you know, decides the perfect way to get out is a collaborative effort. All of the magic, you know, basically, he remembers something about the captain of the Royal Guard, Undyne, saying that if all of them, their hopes and dreams together, surely they can't be wrong. So he does a collaborative effort spell with all the magic of all of the top monsters. And basically, all of that power pushes him forward and out. Boom! Like a shockwave, like a sonic boom. Breaks the sound barrier and just sends him out. And where he ends up, he had never seen Dagobah Beach this damn clean. Wait, what? Dagobah Beach? Wow, he had sent himself far. Farther than he had planned to send himself, but, thanks, guys. Man, you look drained. Guys, have some cinnamon bunnies. And he just drops some cinnamon bunnies in his inner world dimension. And, everyone just gets out into town, eating the cinnamon bunnies. Now, you guys been wondering how exactly this is gonna work towards Izuku turning to villainy? Or any sort of villainy? Well, actually, that's gonna be a slow burner process, is what my theory figures. Because if this is how everything is going in, from what he's able to tell, oh no, his brother has been turned into a complete and total idolizer of that damn Toshinori. And he's just like, oh, Toto, Toto. How far they have allowed you to fall without seeing if pulling the wool over your eyes for so long. Well, soon everyone will see. But that will be a gradually slow process, which will take time. Even I can admit that. That just means maybe I can ask a favor. And then just somebody just knocking on the door and just like, Tanko's like, as we know him as Tanko, but he's Shigaraki, and at this point in the story, he's Shigaraki. So we're just gonna call him Shigaraki for now. Shigaraki's just like, what the who is it? And he's just like, he just hears this, like, a knock, but the knock this time is in this form of knock, 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 knock. It's like, and Azrael, like his theme. And the only two people that do that, in the surface, nowadays, the only two people nowadays that do that were him and, oh my god. Is it like, Tanko's like, oh my god. It's like one thing that breaks through everything that All For One tried to do to him, and just like smacks him in the face. He's alive. He's here. And just before Kirigiri can even say anything, before All For One can even pop up on the TV and say anything, like, shoots over there and remembers the whole thing about the fingers. And remembers that glove thing, the little special gift, that he only said that the only reason that he didn't put them on is because, well, one, they were too big at the time, and the other thing is he didn't really know if they would work. But this time, it didn't matter. He had to. For this one chance. If it wasn't just a figment of his imagination, if for this one chance, it could be him. He puts the gloves on. These gloves that his friend Mike Hero had given him because of his, predicament with, his decay quirk. Because, well, Mike Hero knew some people in support course that, thought similarly, but not too similarly to him, but that's only because they didn't want people to know that they thought that way. So, he got in contact with them and, told them, like, hey, could you make these? And, he even presented them with money. And Ko didn't really like the fact that she, basically behind her back, but he did it anyways. And so, basically, just like, come on, and you, and just like, grabs and twists and the person he sees, a 21-year-old Mikuru Midoriya. And just hugs him. Just nothing needs to be said. They just hug. Well, there's one thing. I never thought I would ever see you again. But then again, every time I would begin to look down in shame, I would always hear those words you said to me in my head. Stay determined. And then I would start to kick myself and be like, he can't be dead. I have to stay determined. Like he told me to. And now I'm starting to realize just how much those helped me. Those words. Because here you are. Now, it's almost like I just feel a little bit less of a fool. Just because that little bit of belief that you could still be there. Because of that determination. And my character would just be like, silly, your soul is the trait of determination. It really can't be helped that you have that. But, still, thanks for believing in me. And waiting all this time. Really deep down inside. Whenever you could have just moved on to somebody else. And who are these people? It's basically Mikuru is, for now, just, going to be fraternizing with the League. When in secret, Mikuru and Tanko now, because Tanko, that whole thing just smacked him back into his real identity. Who he knows now who he really is. That thing. So basically, Tanko and Mikuru now are basically just playing them all. For now on. Even all for wanting Kirigiri. Though Kirigiri slightly less. Because, kind of warp transport plus dude's a Nomu. He has no choice but to, follow orders. And, my hero kind of feels sorry about that. So Tanko, or at least, he's still playing along. He acts like he's still, under the identity of Shigaraki. My character's being like, just continue to play along. I know you're the real you. I know you're still the real you. Just continue to play along a little bit more. A little bit more. And then we take the prize for ourselves. And even the number one villain will be able to stop us. And then, the heroes will be next. Oh, and another thing I need to do more of is a little thing called What if Izuku was V from Vendetta? That movie, 2005. Yeah. Wachowskis. I need to do more of that. What if? I'm going to be very busy bee. Oh boy. Anyways. That's all resolved. And how exactly would the whole stay with the League of Villains go for Maikiru? Well, he would stay around up until the Camino Award, where until All Might's about to square up against All for One. That is until, oh boy, Mettaton's abilities, being a showstopper himself, sure are very good. EX and Neo, and even his original form of just Satan Calculator as a certain penguin girl, like to say. Satan Calculator or not, he's very good at stopping the show before it can even begin. Because, basically, as, All Might looks all victorious over All for One, with last embers of One for All, having burnt out and that, all that jazz, whatever. What no one expects is for a bunch of projector screens to go up and just show up, all around everywhere to where no one can basically not see them. And project a certain someone in Commodoria was not expecting to see soon, because these things are even affecting near satellites that are TV. They're even affecting the signals of the TV satellites. So they're even affecting what you see at your house. And so Inko can even see this. And basically, this is just my curious, just yes. Hello, everyone. All Might. And possibly even Mother Dearest, if you're out there somewhere. And even Izu Ototo. Yes, that's right. I'm your big brother by around 5 years, so I'd be a 21 since you're 16. Yes. And basically, the defeated form of All for One will be like, Shigaraki, what is the meaning of this? Why aren't you trying to stop whoever is doing this? And Shigaraki would just be like, he wouldn't even be there. He would also pop up to Maikiru next to him on the programming and be like, hello everyone, it's me, Tenko Shimura, grandson of Nana Shimura. Did you miss me? Of course you didn't. But I know someone who has. Oh, and by the way, if you don't exactly expect things to get rather magical in the next few, oh, whatever. You'd be very surprised what me and my friend here can do once motivated, or I guess you could say very determined. You already know my name, and you know his. But come on, what's a stage performance without Nyx? You can call me Sandman. And my friend here, my associate, very determined one, that is Dreamer. Dreamer and Sandman, the most fierce duo against this broken hero society that you will ever know. This broken hero society is going down one way or another, and then you will see a world worth being. Everyone like you and me, my associate, and others, will be able to live in the new as it will prosper forth. A world not just of magic, not just of the quirkless, because no, they won't be powerless to defend themselves. An age of both quirk and magic. As Sandman and Dreamer, the architects of the New World Order, finally realized. And if you want to fight against us, well, all I can say is it's your loss. Or loss. Sorry, I just get a little grammarly confused whenever I get so excited. And then, my cure would be like, my cure as, Dreamer. Get the little hint there. That's in the Dreamer family of monsters. The royal family. You'd just be like, ah, yes. Brother, my Izu Ototo, if you would just allow us. I just step down. But then again, I can sense it's not like you. Just like me, just like my friend here, Sandman. You too have a quirk. Not really a quirk, but a soul trait of determination. The red soul. If people only realized the importance of magic sooner. If they weren't so bloated in their beliefs that it was just a fairy tale. That all of that before was just imaginary. Oh, we'll both show them how powerful magic can be compared to your stupid little quirks. as of a sort of demonstration. Well, you'll be seeing a lot of them very soon. My agents. Though, they might be a little bit harder to detect than you would expect. I made a funny there. Now, come on, Sandman. Being around these blithering idiots is sickening me to my very core. And no, I'm not talking about the one that powers all of the underground. Or at least used to. Come on, let's get the show off the air and on to purpose. Like, boom! It's like everything would explode. And once everything gotten out of the rubble, Izuku would have finally just dug out like 3 people, like Star Night Eye, like Mirio, and freaking All Might. Because a bunch of shit just blew up. So, yeah, basically, Sernaya and Mirio are basically able to recover just fine. However, All Might, he is basically without his quirk and a deflated little strolled up, piece of nothing. And he basically just flat out states it now that he has no more power. Nothing to, trot around, scapegoat that he isn't really, the one doing any of that. That's just a bunch of false allegations. He basically comes clean with all of it. And this just leaves Izuku to, basically go over really to, since the dorms haven't really been employed yet, go over to his mom's house and be like, Mom, I'm going to be in my room, okay? As Izuku just goes into his room and, well, without any of his mom's reply, just like, he just is there constantly watching replays of the video of it, like All Might's first ever, debut. Not really knowing what to think anymore because he used to love this, but now he doesn't know, like I said, he doesn't know what to think. All Might just came clean with it. Came clean with everything, basically. Or at least what Izuku knows is All Might's everything coming clean of. There's still a little, somewhat ways, but more that All Might can, fess up, beyond what he's already, caved in on. And Mikuru is planning on making sure that happens. And making sure that his Ototo, his Izu Ototo, hears all of it. Just so that he can get him onto their side of the coin. And right now, since the Serum of Peace basically has no power left, and, Sir Nida is still training Mirio, and Izuku is seen as the only one really, left with the power of One for All. Bakugo still is training his own little power of One for All that he managed to gain. Because, it was given to him earlier, so he has that little bit more of that power earlier in the story than, he would have. So, yeah, that's something. So basically, once the dorms are implanted, basically, the time for the first test, basically, Detective Namasa, as he is, well, he was one of the people along with, the two favorite heroes of my Kiryu back in the day. Still favorite heroes because he knows about their situations, actually. About how the commission is, effing over, Hawks every time they get. And, well, how Aizawa just like Izuku, doesn't really know what to do anymore. Though he has to stay strong because, the commission wills it. Or else he will freaking lose his job, and he can't really do that. Because of certain things that he didn't want the public to know about, that the commission would actually let, the public know about if he had, slept off. So he had actually been trying a little bit harder than before, just so that the commission didn't let those things out. That being that he had actually, gotten into a relationship with someone and, was actually expecting. Because, the villain thing, escalating to such a height, he was afraid for, not only his misses, but, the, little thing in the oven. Their little baby girl. And, well, Aizawa just doesn't want to be in a world where that's jeopardized. But sadly, this is the case. And so basically, Hawks and Aizawa, basically, my Kiryu's favorite day hero being Hawks, number 3 hero. And, well, his favorite night hero being Aizawa, my Kiryu's favorite night hero. In fact, it'd probably be hard to not notice that because of how much, freaking, it might be hard to find and hard to freaking buy. But, Aizawa merch is in there. Like, Eraserhead merch is in there. A lot of it. In my Kira's room. Which, just like how Toriel treated, Asgore's room. With a big thing of room and renovations stamped all over that. Just so that Izuku wouldn't go prying. With the promise of actually punishing him if he ever did pry. And so basically, being All Might's best friend, and now just, figuring out that this is what he had been doing all those times. Dude, Nayamasa is fucking disgusted with himself. How he could be the best friend of someone who did all that behind closed doors. Or just did that all that in general. With a smile on his face. The same one he had whenever he was saving people and doing other hero work. As if there was no difference. This was just another hero duty that he was doing. Torturing this poor, innocent child. For God knows how long. Actually, he did know how long. Because, he had kept up with the records, kept up with the time in which all that, craziness had happened. And even the breakout. And that just disgusted him even more. But then, all of a sudden, just almost as if using one of Sans' shortcuts, he just pops out of nowhere and just like, yo. And just like, what the f-? And he just like has his gun pointed at him, like pointed at Makiru. And I was like, no need for that. And he just sees a vine slap it away. And it's just like, now, Flowey, is it really a way to act, or should I call you by your actual name? Oh, I know how you hate that, seeing as you're this way now. And then you just see a freaking flower with a freaking face. And it's just like, don't you dare. If this is supposed to help, then why would you even think about that? And there's like, there's like, never mind about that. Detective Namasa. Sakauchi, whatever the frick your name is. I expect that certain things being leaked out would inevitably lead to you getting targeted more. Because, you're best friends with the one who loved to torture me the most. But hey, you're not the one who fired the gun, so I'm not gonna, attack you. I'm only going to attack the one or ones who fired the guns. It's pointless to attack, just bystanders. You only attack the one who fired the guns. If I'm right, am I right? And, basically, Detective, Namasa is just like, so, wait, like, what does any of the heightened, villain activity, what? And basically, it's just like, Flowey here is going to be used as sort of like a kangaroo method, the pouches around your waist, and you carry little babies in, but instead it's a potted flower that has sentience and a lot of power. So try not to piss him off. Oh, and if he does attack you out of provocation, no reason to attack you, because you didn't really do anything that should have pissed him off. So yeah, out of provocation. You can, of course, always, Actually, since I've been around in Flowey's pollen enough, I would know if he tried to attack you out of provocation. So, yeah, Flowey, don't even dare. Or do you want your time out of the dimension cut off? And Flaw was just like, oh, first it's not being Azrael anymore, now it's the dimension. Please don't. Well, you lost your time being Azrael because of certain things that have to be done. But once those certain things are done, you can be Azrael again, okay? That's just kind of how things have to work in order for this to work. Plus, as Flowey, you can definitely be a good, helper on keeping Mr. Detective Namasa Gucci, whatever the frig his name is, from harm's way. After all, something that is neither a monster nor a human, that gained determination doesn't really need to sleep, now does it? The perfect security for our detective friend here. And that's only the first of the steps that will be taken to ensure the new age, the new world order. That we have friends on our side that aren't just out of what we already know. And Flaw was just like, listen, detective, I'm Flowey the Flower, also known as previous Prince Azrael of the Monsters. And don't worry, it's nothing to be, under your bed, in your closet about. No, not those kinds of freaking, whatever. It's not like that. In fact, the monsters here are going to be the ones to help the ones that my hero here knows that can be trusted. That is, if they can actually find a way to get off their asses and accept said help, I'm more or less just as my hero said, security for anyone who would try to attack you. The whole thing about the whole no more symbol of peace. Seeing as who exactly is in the number one spot after All Might kinda crapped out. Child abuser, only no one will be, balls enough to say it, or ovaries enough. Everyone pretty much knows, but no one's gonna say it. Well, I would, but how many people are gonna believe me? You know what I'm talking about, right? Detective. And Couchy's just like Namas just like, so you know about Endeavor? And Flowey's just like, I know about everything our creator knows about. We are not the original kind. We are re-imprints from his, I guess you could say, soul memory. So basically, these are basically monsters, like the same monsters, but not. It's kind of like, the whole spoon or not spoon kind of thing when the Matrix. Like, there is no spoon, but only this is a lot more literal. Is how Flower is trying to explain it. And I'm sure that no villain would exactly like to be hit with my friendliness pellets. Or as I like to say, bullets. But it's only for the ones that I want to hit with those bullets. Actually, Detective, if I'm allowed to touch that specific part, and the moss isn't stupid. He knows, like, oh, you mean because my head is like a dog? You want to know if, yeah, like the whole provocation thing. You know how my cure is. Like, you might not know. Whatever. I'm just saying. Permission, okay? Nuasa's just like, sure, you have permission to touch. And Flower's just like, it's very comfy up here. Actually, I'd have a lot higher vantage point to be able to see who was and who wasn't trying to kill you from up here. Oh, yeah, definitely. The pouch is good for the soil, but this is, if I need higher reach for the sun, photosynthesis and all that, since I'm still technically a flower. Yeah, this, and the comfiness of your damn fur. I mean, good God. Oh my God. Oh, and you can also kind of use that as a semi-back scratcher if I ever needed something like that. And I think I might know, that right there. And Namas is just like, just try to be quiet whenever you say those things. At least as quiet as you can be. Like, I know it might feel good, but I'm starting to get looks from other people. Looks that I don't like. And basically, Flowey's just like, I understand. I used to get a lot of that from my adopted sister, Chara. I call this Scary Face. And she can still do it, too. We can still see sort of images of her and Frisk inside of my curious soul. And she can still do it, even when fused with Frisk. Oh, yeah. I remember to stay quiet. It's just so good. And basically, by the time that, Namasas went to sleep, like, Flowey's, done tucking himself out, back scratching himself on Namasas freaking head. But, they're both, fairly complacent. Well, technically, like Mike said, since, not either a monster or a freaking human, Flowey doesn't really go to sleep. He more or less just rests. Makes it appear like he's asleep, but he has enough senses to know if someone's about to freaking attack. So the few times that does happen, the first few times, Namas is a little bit alarmed because he forgets that, Flowey's there. But, next few times, it doesn't faze him as much. He's like, I guess I can get used to this. As long as I find a more manageable way to make sure the soil doesn't fall down as much. And Flower just might be just like, he's just like, oh, that's probably because we made too many holes. And the cool night wind from whenever the people do try to jump in here and attack you, the breeze is cathartic as hell. Or maybe that's just the more level I get from, taking those guys out, because don't exactly act like my friendliness pellets or bullets are going to spare them. You do realize that, right? Though it's not me, well, it's not you doing it, so you're not going to be the one arrested. Plus, they can't even arrest me because, my crew can just will me back to his side. So, yeah, as long as he's not arrested, I'm not arrested. Well, at least for long. Because, magic can just will me back to him, or will me back to whoever he placed me in the care of, or placed in the care of me, or whatever you want to say. That's basically how that works. So yeah, pretty much safe and sound. Though the extra LV does feel nice. Like I said. Namasa, despite, Flowey's, certain things about him, ways about him, he's thinking that he can deal with this, deal with this. And, we're gonna leave the next person, next monster that encounters the next person for part 2. Adapsis.